guys? It's Lord Botha here with another video, and Unknown 9 Awakening. I know you're like, wait a second, I vaguely remember hearing that name before, but I also have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Well, Unknown 9 Awakening was a video game that came out not that long ago, and it was horrifically terrible. I made a video about it being horrifically terrible and how nobody cared about it. And guess what? Nobody watched that video. You know why? Because nobody cared about it. But a new story has come out about that horrifically terrible game that nobody seems to care about. And I figured, hey, I need a video for the day. Why not just look into it? So anyway, here's the new information about this game that was so terrible and nobody cared about it and was a woke DEI mess of a game. And on top of that, had terrible mechanics, had this thing where like NPCs would just repeat the same NPCs in crowds just over and over and over again in the year 2024. And this was supposed to be a AAA game, right? Or at least a high grade AA game. And that's the best they could come up with. But this comes to us from Eurogamer stating, Unknown 9 franchise canceled as developer admits game didn't come near expectations, series didn't warrant any further exploration. Yeah, because they were also going to make like a television series to go along with this. It starred the girl who played Yennefer in The Witcher. But anyway, the article states the studio behind bold Assassin's Creed meets Tomb Raider transmedia attempt Unknown 9, that is a wild comparison to make, has signaled an end to the franchise following the poor performance of last year's initial video game. If you're wondering how poor that performance was, here's a little graphic of exactly how many people played it on Steam. Yeah, as you can see, absolute disaster. One of Reflector's two future projects, presumably another Unknown 9 game, which had been in the conceptualization phase, has now been canceled. This therefore means that the studio was terminating this development line. The director of Reflector Studios had this to say, quote, "This decision correlates directly with the failure of the studio's ambitious and courageous first project, a new IP with rich transmedia universe." Yes, that's right. Reflector Studios, this was their first game. They hadn't made anything. And they're just yet another studio that popped up out of nowhere with a big old scoop of help from Sweet Baby Inc. to try to make their first game and fall flat on their face. I think I used this example before, but them making these high-grade AA games and AAA games, these new studios with activists at the helm of the story writing and development of it, it's like new car companies that decide, hey, we're not going to start off like all the other car companies before us, making an affordable town car that people can go to the grocery store and stuff like that. They can get their families around. No, we're going to start out of the gate building a supercar. And then they wonder why it doesn't end up actually being profitable for them. Because guess what? People don't want supercars in droves. And it's a competitive market. And guess what? If you make a bad supercar, which is what this is in terms of gaming, it's going to mean that your company is going to go bankrupt. Or in this case, your studio is going to fold. And I wouldn't be surprised if this studio folds quickly. Because the article also states Reflector will now go through a second round of redundancies, that's code for firing, following previous job losses reported back in November of 2024. As the company shrinks to a single project approach, the studio will adopt for the imminent future. It's also stated that this project is an existing Bandai Namco IP and is shaping up well. So they decided to do the smart thing now and say, hey, build an affordable town car of gaming. Unfortunately, it might be too little too late for this studio. But yeah, it's not a shock that this game failed and failed hard. It had all the bad elements of it. Woke writing, DEI inserts in terms of characters, and an agenda that went along with that, obviously with the storytelling. It had incredibly whack mechanics, was buggy as all hell when it released, and just had elements within the game that were completely behind the times. And though it had a nice sheen of graphics on it, nobody wanted it. In fact, not a lot of people knew that this thing had even come out. In fact, not a lot of people watching this probably will even know what the heck this even was. And I'm here to tell you today, honestly, it wasn't anything. Just another log of failure on the fire of horribly made, woke DEI games. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it. We'll talk to you again later.